Bear is a man who has spent over 7 decades studying money. He has watched markets rise and fall. He has seen fortunes built and destroyed overnight. And through all of it, he came to one conclusion that most people never act on. Never depend on a single income. That is the warning from Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest and most respected investors in human history. And if you are watching this video right now, that warning is meant for you. Because here is the truth. Most people are living one paycheck away from financial disaster. One job loss, one medical emergency, one unexpected bill, and everything they spent years building begins to collapse. That is not a scare tactic. That is reality. And Buffett understood this earlier than almost anyone else. At just 11 years old, he bought his first shares of stock, not because he was rich, not because he had powerful connections, but because he understood something fundamental about wealth that most adults never learn. Money has the ability to work for you, even while you sleep. But before we talk about what Buffett did right, let us talk about what most people do wrong. Most of us are taught to follow a very specific path. Go to school, study hard, get a good job, earn a salary, pay your bills, repeat. And on the surface, that sounds completely reasonable. A salary feels safe. It feels predictable. It feels like the right thing to do. But Buffett sees it differently. If your salary is your only source of income, you are entirely dependent on someone else's decision about your financial future. Your employer can cut your hours. The company can downsize. The industry can change. And suddenly, the only thing standing between you and financial crisis is gone. That is the trap that billions of people fall into every single day. They trade their time for money. And when their time runs out, or when the job disappears, so does the income. Buffett built his wealth on a completely different principle. He never just traded time for money. He built systems that generated income on their own. Dividends from stocks, returns from businesses, interest from investments. While he was sleeping, while he was eating, while he was living his life, his money was out there working for him. And this is not some secret reserved for billionaires. This is a principle that anyone can apply, right now, with whatever they have. The concept Buffett talks about most often is something called compounding, and it is one of the most powerful forces in personal finance. Here is how it works. When you invest money, you earn a return. And then you reinvest that return. The next cycle, you earn a return on both your original investment and on the return you already earned. Over time, this creates a snowball effect. Small at first, almost invisible, but given enough time, it becomes unstoppable. Buffett once described this process as rolling a snowball down a very long hill. The longer the hill, the bigger the snowball gets. The key is to start rolling it as early as possible. And that is exactly what he did at 11 years old. He did not wait until he had the perfect amount of money. He did not wait until the timing was right. He started small, and he let time do the heavy lifting. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds great, but I do not have extra money to invest. I am barely covering my expenses as it is. And that is a completely understandable place to be. But Buffett would push back on that. Because the truth is, most people do not lack money to invest. Most people lack the habit of investing before spending. Buffett has always lived well below his means. Even as one of the richest men on the planet, he still lives in the same modest house he bought in 1958. He still drives a practical car. He still makes every decision based on long-term value, not short-term pleasure. The discipline of living below your means is not about suffering. It is about priority. Every dollar you spend today is a dollar that cannot compound for the next 10, 20, or 30 years. Think about that for a moment. $100 invested today, earning an average annual return of 10%, becomes over $1,700 in 30 years, without you doing a single thing extra. Just by letting time and compounding work together. Now multiply that by consistent monthly contributions. And you begin to understand why Buffett says that creating a second source of income is not optional, it is essential. So what does that actually look like in practice? It starts with a decision to stop letting your salary be the only thing standing between you and financial stability. You do not need to become a stock market expert overnight. You do not need a financial advisor or a complicated strategy. You need three things: consistency, patience, and the courage to start today. Begin by setting aside a small percentage of your income every single month, even 5%, even 10%. Put it into a low-cost index fund that tracks the broad market, reinvest every dividend automatically, and then do not touch it. That is the foundation that Buffett has spoken about time and time again. Simple, boring, and extraordinarily powerful over time. As that investment grows, your second source of income begins to take shape. You start receiving dividends. Your portfolio generates returns. Slowly at first, then faster. And one day, you will look at your account and realize that your money is earning more in a single month than you used to earn in an entire week. That is the moment Buffett is talking about. That is what financial freedom actually looks like. Not a lottery, not a get-rich scheme. Just disciplined, consistent investing over time. There is one more thing Buffett teaches that is absolutely worth spending time on, and it is something that most people completely overlook. He talks about the cost of waiting. Every year you delay starting your second source of income, you lose compounding time that you can never get back. The person who starts investing at 25 and the person who starts at 35 are not just 10 years apart in wealth. They are potentially millions of dollars apart, because the early years of compounding do the heaviest lifting of all. So the question is not whether you should create a second source of income. The question is how much longer you are willing to wait before you start. Buffett's warning is not complicated. It is not hidden in some academic paper. It is not reserved for Wall Street insiders. It is simple, it is direct, and it is available to every single person watching this video. Never depend on a single income. Make an investment. Create a second source. Let your money work for you. Because the alternative is spending your entire life working for money. And according to one of the greatest financial minds who ever lived, that is a trap you do not have to fall into. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. If this video gave you something valuable, make sure you subscribe, because the next video goes even deeper into exactly how to build your first source of passive income from zero. Step by step, no complicated strategies. No matter where you are starting from. See you there.